would not call this a deep film, but I was surprised at how good it is.
You know what? It was better than Kinky Kong.
Okay, we don't need to bring up terrible things we saw in Cinemax at like 1 a.m. 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kinky Kong really stuck with you, didn't it?
Yeah. It was silly.
It was very silly. This is about on the same level in terms... no, first of all, folks, don't look up Kinky Kong. It's not worth it. It's just some dumb softcore thing that was shown on Skinamax that we happened to catch one night, and we watched all of...
Like we had Cinemax for like, I don't know, a few months for some reason.
Yeah, it was one of those promotional things they used to do back in the day.
And we ended up watching that.
Well, because that's the thing. Cinemax was known for putting on softcore stuff, after like midnight or whatever. And this would definitely count.
Yeah.
This is the type of thing they would probably show. And in fact, like I definitely saw things that were on this level of eroticism. But, and I know that's the draw of this film. And yet, I gotta say, I'm surprised at how it's actually not bad.
I think this originally was going to have a heterosexual couple, and I think there was not as much nudity originally.
And nobody wanted to see that.
Well, like he couldn't get financing for that, so we got what we got.
I mean, I'm kind of glad.
Yeah. And what we're seeing, I think, is from this Mando Macabro.
Yeah, so I downloaded this from archive.org.
Yeah.
And that's where I found this. And because you're not going to stream it anywhere else.
But I think for the longest time it was on a DVD by something called Pagan Pictures or something, and it had like 4 minutes removed.
I can imagine which 4.
Yeah. And this Mando Macabro put it back in, and that's what we saw, and it's...
Thank you, guys.
But also, like, it looks good. Apparently the old one, it looked horrible. Like, it was... Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the film quality of this, I mean, honestly, it's about on the same level in terms of the film quality that we're looking at as a lot of stuff from that time period, the late 60s into early 70s.
It's very Wicker Man.
Yes.
Like, looks-wise.
Yeah. Wicker Man or Blood on Satan's Claw.
Yeah.
That kind of era of stuff. It's the same, like, kind of grainy-ish film quality. Like, Ken Russell's films are kind of like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, I wish Ken Russell had made this film, actually, because it would have been at least bonkers. This is not a bonkers film.
No.
I enjoyed this, actually, and honestly, except for the fact that, like, I don't want to watch this with my mother around.
No.
Because it does have a lot of nudity and, like, I mean, you don't see, like, anybody going down on a girl, but it's heavily implied, and you see everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, aside from that, it's actually, like, not a bad film.
Right.
And it's something I could easily watch again, because what this is fairy lore.
Mm-hmm.
So we're an Arthurian podcast, so, obviously, like, normally our focus is on things that are strictly like King Arthur. King Arthur is kind of a broad category. No, I'm serious. King Arthur is a broad category. And within that category, you have things like the Holy Grail, right? So, ergo, we started this whole series off with Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
It counts. Do they really mention Arthur in that film? Once, but that's all. But it is about the Holy Grail. This is all Morgan le Fay. Yeah. And this is absolutely the Morgan le Fay from Arthurian stories. Her character changes so much depending on who's writing, so that it's fine that this is like another version of that. The name Morgan le Fay is Morgan the Fairy, right? And so this film just leans into the idea that she is a fairy queen. She rules over an island surrounded by a magic forest. The island, I don't know that they ever say the word Avalon, but I mean, it's sort of understood that this is the Isle of Avalon, where she is, attended to by a bevy of beautiful young women, but also a bunch of very old women who are kind of like down in the dungeons. And then a dwarf named Girth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Girth. Where did I pull the F from? I don't know. I'm tired.
You're thinking of Gorf, the video game. Do you remember Gorf?
No. What is Gorf?
I think it was on Atari. Gorf. I see it in black letters in my head.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Frogger?
No, there's definitely Gorf.
Okay.
But this was Girth.
It's not Dorf.
No.
Isn't that Dorf on Golf, the video game?
No.